Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space and more Valentine cards. I'm using more of the Pretty Pink Posh January 2025 release, along with a Halloween item that came out during the Halloween release. It just works. It just works. And I was really inspired by Melissa Phillips. And if you don't already follow her, I will post her Instagram in the description box below the video. The way she layers and she'll add pattern paper and splatter and all the things. And yeah, I was very inspired by her when I was making these. I pulled out some pattern paper and used it. Had lots of fun. So this is actually also tied to an Instagram hop. So I always have my social media linked in the description box below the video. So same thing. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you can find me over there. And then I will link to the Pretty Pink Posh new release. I'll link to all the supplies I used in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up ordering something, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It's what helps pay the bills, keeps the heaters running, enables me to bring out content. And then at the end of the video, I will link to my 2025 Valentine playlist, which, disclaimer, I kind of will do all sorts of cards for Valentine's. They're not specifically Happy Valentine's Day. Even these ones don't say Valentine's. Like, I would send these to anyone for sort of any occasion, really. It's just to tell them you love them. So that's enough rambling from me. Let's get into making these cards. So the first thing I did was die cut some white cardstock with the largest of the Pretty Pink Posh Eyelet rectangle wafer dies. And after I die cut them, I am sticking them to one of my grip mats. And then I'm going to use some Post-it tape to mask off right where the stitch line is on these. This is just going to kind of create the illusion of a second layer. And you can do this whether you die cut or not. Like, you can mask off an area on a card front or just a panel, a cardstock panel, to do some masking or stenciling, ink blending, that sort of a thing. And it'll create the illusion of another layer. So after I'd masked off those areas, I'm using the new diamond grid stencil. And I was talking about this in one of my previous Pretty Pink Posh videos. With this release, there's more like kind of geometric type stencils, which I like. They're fun because you can, again, geometric works with anything. This isn't specifically Valentine's, that sort of thing. So I place the stencil over the panel, and then I'm using 3 different shades of ink and just blending it over the stencil. And I'm using Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks in Melon, Guava, and Surf. And first I remove the stencil, and then I take this off the sticky mat. I could have left this all just on the sticky mat and did the splatter, but I was just flying by the seat of my pants, as usual. Just figuring things out as I went along. So I took it off the mat and I stuck it in my splat box and then decided to put the stencil back in place so that when I add my splatter, it's only going to show on the stenciled areas, which in this case ends up being kind of pointless because I'm going to add more splatter later. But just explaining the thought process, I guess. So the first splatter is Picket Fence Studios Paper Splatter Watercolor in Liquid White Snowflake. One of my faves. I'm almost used up an entire bottle of this. It's just shimmery goodness, which right now looks like nothing, but wait till I tilt it in the light and it's amazing. So I did the splatter and then removed the stencil and then carefully removed the Post-it tape so I don't smear anything. This dries fairly quickly. And then, yeah. It's shimmery. Love it. And then I set it aside. Now, for my main little image, this is the Pretty Pink Posh Fox Holder die set. Super cute. And then the pattern paper I used is a sort of oldie but goodie pack that, as of doing my link of supplies, it's still available. This is the April and Ivy pattern paper pack from American Crafts that I've used in other videos, and I quite like it. And I was digging through my stash looking for something completely unrelated and came across this paper and I was like, ooh, this could be fun. So I die cut the body of this little fox from one of the pattern papers, and I'm just using that same melon ink, but this time I'm using a little tiny blending tool just to add that ink around the very edges, because while I have a bajillion different blending brushes, I will never give up on blending foams. They come in handy for certain things. So I emphasize the edges of the pattern paper with this little blending foam and the melon ink, and then I did the same thing with all of these remaining pieces that I die cut from just scraps of white cardstock that will build this little fox in a second. So I just went around and added that melon ink to all of these pieces, and then for the little pink triangles, those will be the insides of the ears. I just die cut those again just from a scrap of pink cardstock. I blended the guava ink with a blending tool, just slapping that little bit of ink on. It gives it that little bit of depth and dimension. So assembling this dude, super, super simple. He's got the little tummy piece, so you just tuck that in. He's so cute. And then this part that emphasizes his little face, and then I had just die cut scraps of black cardstock with the wafer dies for the eyes and the nose and mouth. And the eyes in this die set, technically you could actually just die cut them from that white piece where they get adhered. The dies are spaced, so you can do that. I didn't. I just die cut scraps. It's quick and easy to adhere them into place, but that is an option. Another thing you could do, and I didn't do it, and now am I kicking myself? A little bit. Could use googly eyes. It would look really cute. Extra derpy, but you guys know I love derpy. So, hindsight, always. But that's an idea too. Anyway, for all the accessories, there is the new Valentine Holder Editions die set. And this one's fun because several of the dies in this are not specific. Like, yes, they're hearts and things, but there's like a little basket, there's a little present, this flower that I used in the leaves, like things that you can use for a bajillion different occasions. And I like that. I like having options. That is so up my alley. So I took some of those little accessories and I die cut them from, again, scraps of cardstock, some of the bits of pattern paper, things like that. The Hugs Sentiment, that is from the Fox Holder die set, and I die cut that from scraps of black cardstock, stacked a couple together. Everything I was doing with craft tacky glue. The little bow is from the Valentine Holder Editions, and I was like, it's just too cute not to add. So I've got all that. And then to adhere this to my card front panel, I decided to pop this up with just some Big Mama foam tape, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to adhere my little flowers and leaves, and I'm going to use a mix of just thin foam squares as well as just craft tacky glue, just kind of building up a little bit of dimension here and there. So adhere my little flowers, and then I just kind of tuck those little leaves in that I also ink blended, like all those pieces I ink blended with the same inks. Just keeping things simple. Don't need to use absolutely everything. And then I say that and it's like, I'm going to use 3 different products for splatter, but you guys understand. You guys know. So after I got those assembled, I did a second card front, and I didn't film this. You guys, I was like filming the anyway, but it was the same thing. I did the background the exact same way, same supplies, and then the same accessories for the most part, or same accessory die set. But this one I used the ghost holder. Seriously, I couldn't resist. It was too cute. So, and then the little bats are from the ghost holder die set, and I die cut those from the pattern paper. Added a little bit of ink and stuck them onto the card front. Like, couldn't resist. So then my card bases are top folding A2, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches cards from Ivory cardstock. And I stamped a sentiment and the little hearts from the Valentine Greetings set. And yeah, I just used the Lots of Love stamps. So again, I would send these to someone any time of the year, just to tell them you love them. So after I had stamped the insides, I popped the card fronts onto the card bases with more just Big Mama foam tape. And that foam tape is super, super thin, so it gives a little bit of dimension, but not a ton of bulk. And then more splatter. So this is why I could have skipped keeping the stencil in place the first time, but it doesn't matter. So I put these cards into my splat box, and I'm using white gouache first. So I put that on my palette, watered it down a little bit, splattered that with my fan brush, and somewhat avoiding the 2 little main characters on these cards, but also not worrying about getting splatter on them. If I was really worried about it, I would have die cut like just copy paper and placed it on top. But You guys know, I don't mind getting splatter all over the place. All over the place. It gets everywhere. It's on me. It's on my camera. It's everywhere. And I'm fine with it. The Splat box keeps a lot of it contained, as you can tell, but I still managed to get it everywhere. So then I added black splatter. Just cause. So black gouache, watered it down, swirled that up really well with my fan brush, and then splattered that over these cards. Let everything dry. And then these little black hearts, these were just more die cut scraps using the heart wafer dies in the Valentine Holder Editions set. So I adhered those to the card fronts with craft tacky glue. And then my final little bit of embellishment is some marshmallow pearls. These are oldie but goodie, like some OG Pretty Pink Posh stuff. I dug through my stash, pulled those out. And I used those for the flower centers because they were just missing something. You know, they needed a little something. Although the die cut hearts would have made cute little flower centers too, really. But I just adhered the little pearls into place with little dabs of craft tacky glue and used some of the big ones on a couple of the flowers and then just clustered some of the smaller ones. Just gives it that little extra something. So once I get these adhered into place, I just need to let the glue dry and these cards will be complete. And I have a little fox and a little ghost. I was inspired by the ghost stamp set. I did that video for the first video of the series using the actual like Valentine ghost stamp set. So it was sitting in the back of my mind and I'm glad I pulled this die out because like look how cute he is, seriously. So like I mentioned in the intro, I will have links to all the things in the description box below the video. So you just expand that. It'll all be there to check out if you're interested. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. It helps a ton. I very much appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!